It is Saturday, January 24th, 2026. And I have to say, if you were hoping this year was going to be a calm sequel to the last one, the writers of this reality have a very different plot in mind.
The script has definitely gone off the rails. We aren't just seeing acceleration, we're seeing things that, they shouldn't be happening at the same time.
Right. We've got AI timelines just shrinking from decades to months. We have vampires sweeping the Oscars, which, I don't know, feels oddly appropriate.
It does.
And we have a weather Mac who looks like it's just broken. One side of the world is buried under Arctic snow, and the other side is confusingly tropical.
It is a week of paradoxes, for sure.
So our job today is to map this all out. We're looking at 3 specific buckets to help you make sense of the noise. First, the acceleration. We're going to go past the hype and look at a specific AI tool that is disrupting the education system now, not later. Plus, we need to talk about the world model shift in AI.
Oh, that's the big one. That is the technical unlock that really matters.
And
Then we're heading east for the China connection. There are some huge economic pivots happening there that are basically rewriting the trade maps, plus a historical discovery about skiing that completely changes the timeline of human invention.
And finally, the extremes. We'll look at why nature's clock is breaking, creating what biologists are calling a phenological mismatch.
And then we'll pivot to humans who are breaking physical limits in everything from speed cubing to, yes, pickleball.
You can't escape it. The goal is simple. Ignore the noise, find the signal.
Let's make sense of it.
Okay, let's start with the immediate impact. We talk a lot about AI taking jobs someday, but this week, Google made a move that hits the wallet right now.
This is the SAT disruption. So on January 21st, Google rolled out a new feature in Gemini, their AI assistant. It's offering free, full-length SAT practice exams. And this isn't just, some generic
But this is built on actual content from the Princeton Review.
Exactly.
And that's the key. The Princeton Review is the gold standard. When I was a kid, SAT prep was a status symbol. It was so expensive.
Oh, it still is. Or it was until Tuesday. Private tutors charge, $135 to $155 an hour.
An hour.
That is a massive gatekeeper. If you have the money, you buy a higher score. Google just took that luxury product and turned it into a free utility for 2 million kids taking the test every year.
It's democratization, sure. But isn't this also a death knell for an entire industry? If the AI can grade your essay, explain why you were wrong, and then build a customized study plan.
Why would you hire a human at $150 an hour?
Exactly.
That's the uncomfortable question, right?
Right.
For the student who could never afford a tutor, this is a miracle. For the tutor economy, it's a disaster. And it really mirrors the conversation that was happening in Davos this week.
Oh, the World Economic Forum was tense.
Tense is putting it mildly.
You had the heavyweights on stage.
Yeah.
Dario Amodei from Anthropic, Demis Hassabis from Google DeepMind. And usually, these guys speak in vague corporate speak. Not this time.
No. They actually debated the timeline for AGI on stage.
Okay, pause there for a second. We hear AGI constantly. Artificial General Intelligence. Let's just define it clearly so we aren't just throwing buzzwords around.
Sure. Simply put, AGI is the moment an AI can perform any intellectual task a human can. Not just playing chess or writing a poem, but, learning a new field from scratch, reasoning, planning.
And executing complex goals.
Is okay.
So, Amodei is predicting we get there, specifically Nobel-level scientific capability, by 2027.
2027.
That is next year.
And he thinks AI will replace most software engineering work in 6 to 12 months.
That just seems incredibly aggressive. 6 months? Software engineering is a complex problem solving. It's not just writing syntax. Is he selling something, or is the tech actually moving that fast?
It's a bit of both, probably. He has a company to run, so hype helps.
Yeah.
But the curve is vertical. Now, Hassabis was supposed to be the voice of reason, and even he thinks there's a 50% chance we hit that level in 5 to 10 years.
So the conservative estimate is a decade, and the aggressive one is next year. But they both agree on the fallout.
Yes. 50% of white-collar jobs vanished or fundamentally changed within 5 years. That was the consensus.
And then Elon Musk walks in and basically says, hold my beer.
Essentially, Musk told Larry Fink from BlackRock that AI will surpass individual human intelligence by the end of this year, 2026.
This year.
And collective human intelligence, meaning all of us combined within 5 years.
But Musk also flagged a bottleneck that I hadn't really considered. We always talk about chip shortages. He says chips aren't the problem anymore.
It's electricity. We are moving from a silicon constraint to a power constraint. We physically cannot plug these new brains into the wall fast enough. The grid is the new limit on intelligence.
That feels like a sci-fi plot point. The supercomputer's ready, but we don't have enough AA batteries.
Pretty much.
Now, amidst all this timeline debate, there was a technical shift mentioned that I want to drill into. World models. Jan LeCun, the chief AI scientist at Meta, is leaving to start a lab to build these. How is a world model different from the ChatGPT everyone is using?
Okay, this is probably the most important concept to understand right now. Current AIs, like ChatGPT, are large language models, LLMs. They are essentially statistically guessing the next word in a sentence.
Right.
They don't know what a glass is. They just know how the word glass is used in millions of texts.
So they're really, really well-read parrot.
Exactly. They mimic understanding. A world model tries to understand the underlying reality. It learns physics. It learns cause and effect. It understands that if you drop a glass, gravity pulls it down.
It hits the floor and it shatters.
Exactly. So why does that distinction matter?
Trust.
Trust. LLMs hallucinate. They make things up because they don't have a reality check. A world model would say, wait, that defies the laws of physics, and correct itself. It's the difference between sounding smart and being smart.
So we're moving from text prediction to reality simulation. And while the software is trying to learn physics, the hardware is trying to become biological. You flagged a study from the Indian Institute of Science.
Yeah, about these ruthenium devices. This is fascinating. They created molecular devices that can switch roles. In your laptop right now, memory, where you store photos, and processing the chip that does the thinking, they're in two different places.
So data has to travel back and forth. It's inefficient.
Very. But in the brain, the synapse does both. These new molecular devices can act as memory or a processor or a synapse. They can physically encode a memory and then unlearn it, just like a brain connection getting stronger or weaker.
So we're moving away from rigid silicon chips to something that is, plastic, malleable.
We're moving toward neuromorphic computing, hardware that functions like biology. It's not just running code. The hardware itself is adapting.
Okay, that is a perfect segue. We're talking about shifting power structures in tech, in hardware. Let's talk about shifting power structures in the real world. Segment 2, China.
The landscape is shifting fast, and we need to look at Canada. Prime Minister Mark Carney was in Beijing this week, and he made a decision that effectively breaks ranks with the United States.
This is about EVs, right? The U.S. has put up this massive tariff wall to keep cheap Chinese cars out.
Right.
And Canada just tore theirs down.
They slashed it. Tariffs on Chinese EVs dropped from 100% down to just 6.1%.
Wow. And in exchange?
In exchange, China lowered tariffs on Canadian canola from 84% down to 15%.
That seems risky. I mean, the U.S. is Canada's biggest ally and trade partner. Why open the door to BYD and all these other Chinese automakers?
It's a hedge. Canada is signaling that they can't rely solely on American economic policy anymore. They are choosing cheaper consumer goods, affordable electric cars for their citizens, over lockstep geopolitical alignment with Washington. It's a huge diversification play.
It's a bold move. But it's not just goods flowing, though. It's culture. For a few years, it really felt like China was culturally walled off. That's cracking open.
It is. The Western rock ban is effectively over. The Pixies are playing Shanghai for their 40th anniversary. Mac DeMarco is touring. Suede is back.
The Pixies in Shanghai, that's a sentence I did not expect to read in 2026.
The money is just too big to ignore. The live music market there is something like $8 billion. But for me, the most surprising story out of China this week wasn't rock and roll. It was skiing.
The ancient fur ski race. I saw the headline and thought it was a joke.
Not a joke at all. This happened in Ulte, Xinjiang. See, we tend to have this very Eurocentric view that skiing was invented in, like Scandinavia or the Alps.
Right.
But in Ulte, they found rock paintings suggesting skiing started there 12,000 years ago.
12,000 years. That's before the wheel? That's before agriculture.
Way before. And the locals still use the ancient tech. On January 17th, 300 athletes raced on handmade wooden skis wrapped in horsehide.
Why horsehide? What does the fur do?
It's all about friction management. It's brilliant. The fur points backward, so when you climb uphill, the fur digs into the snow and gives you grip. When you slide down, it's smooth.
That's natural engineering that predates modern bindings and wax by millennia.
It's incredible. We're on carbon fiber, and they solved the physics with horsehair 10,000 years ago.
One last note on the China connection. Bit of a sad one for Japan, actually.
You're right. The panda diplomacy era is ending, or at least pausing. The giant panda Xiao Zhao and Lei Lei left Tokyo to return to China on the 27th. They've had pandas in Ueno Zoo since 1972.
I saw that 24 people applied for every single viewing spot just to say goodbye. It's a reminder that while governments fight over tariffs and EV regulations...
People just really love pandas. It's the softest form of power, but man, it works.
All right, let's pivot to the extremes. We mentioned the weather map is broken. You found a situation in Russia that sounds terrifying.
Kamchatka. They're calling it the snow apocalypse. In December alone, they got 370 millimeters of precipitation. But as snow. That translates to drifts up to 2.4 meters high.
8 feet. I saw the photos. People are tunneling out of their second-story windows. It looks like a movie set.
It just paralyzes modern life. But the paradox, and this is why we call this segment the extremes, is that while Russia is buried, the Arctic is having a no-snow crisis. It's unseasonably warm.
And this is where the biology breaks. You mentioned the term phenological mismatch. Explain that to me like I'm 5.
Okay, imagine you have a dinner reservation for 7:00 p.m. But the restaurant decides to serve the food at 5:00 p.m. and they don't tell you. You show up at 7.
And the food is gone.
Right.
I starve.
That is phenological mismatch. Nature relies on strict timing. We have a study on Antarctic penguins showing they are breeding 2 weeks earlier than they were a decade ago because of the heat.
So the babies hatch early.
They hatch early. But the food, the krill and plankton bloom, it might not have happened yet. The babies are at the table, but the kitchen isn't open. They starve.
That's heartbreaking. And it's not just food, it's camouflage too, right?
Exactly. The Arctic fox turns white in winter to hide in the snow. If there is no snow, they are a bright white target on dark mud. Evolution takes thousands of years. We are changing the parameters in decades. Evolution just can't keep up with how fast we're changing the thermostat.
It's chaotic. But while nature is struggling to adapt, humans seem to be speeding up. Let's hit the lightning round of human achievement. The Rubik's Cube record fell again.
The 4-second barrier is just, it's gone. Swanee Gang from China averaged 3.84 seconds.
3.84 seconds. It takes me longer to find the remote control.
It's a physical speed that barely registers to the eye. It's just muscle memory refined to a point where it looks like a glitch in the Matrix.
Speaking of speed and reflexes, let's talk about the fastest growing sport, pickleball.
I feel like we can't escape pickleball.
We can't. But Annalie Waters is the reason to pay attention right now. She is 18 years old. She just signed with Nike, first pickleballer to do so, and she has won 40 Triple Crowns.
She is the undisputed face of that sport, and it signals that pickleball isn't just a hobby for retirees anymore. It's a commercial juggernaut.
And speaking of juggernauts, vampires.
They are having a moment. Ryan Coogler's new movie Sinners just swept the Oscar nominations with 16 nods.
16. That beats the record held by Titanic.
It beats Titanic, La La Land, and All About Eve. They all had 14. It's a new record.
That is a massive shift. The Academy usually hates genre movies.
Yeah.
Horror and vampires rarely get that kind of respect. Is the movie that good, or is the Academy changing?
It's likely both, but it also just shows that Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are a powerhouse team. They took a vampire movie and somehow turned it into high art.
One final bit of culture, something a little quieter. Vermeer.
Girl with a pearl earring. She's traveling to Osaka, Japan this summer. And the director of the museum in The Hague dropped a pretty big hint that this might be the last time she ever used the Netherlands.
Too fragile.
Too valuable, too fragile, and honestly, all the protests targeting art in recent years have made museums very nervous. So if you're in Japan in August, go see it. It's likely a once-in-a-lifetime chance to see the Mona Lisa of the North outside of Europe.
I will add it to the list. Okay, we always like to end with a historical anchor just to give us some perspective. Today is January 24th, and in 1848, this was a very significant day for the global economy.
James Marshall found gold flakes at Sutter's Mill in California, the start of the gold rush.
It transformed the world. It built the American West. It turned California into the 5th largest economy on Earth. But there is a detail about Marshall and Sutter, the guys who owned the land and found the gold, that feels really relevant to our AI conversation at the top of the show.
They both died in poverty.
That's the irony that sticks with me.
The gold rush created massive wealth, but for the merchants, for the people selling the shovels, the transport companies, but the people at the center of the discovery. They were overrun by it, their land was trampled, their rights ignored, they lost everything.
It just feels like a warning for the AI gold rush. Just because you discover the tech or you own the land where it's happening doesn't mean you win.
Exactly. History suggests the wealth often goes to the infrastructure, not the pioneers.
Something to chew on. We covered a lot today, from molecular chips and 4-second puzzles to penguins missing their dinner reservations.
It's a lot to process, but the theme is clear: adaptation. The world is changing faster than our biology, and maybe faster than our economy can keep up.
Before we go, I saw a joke in the source notes that perfectly sums up my life, and I suspect yours too. Wife says, "You're not buying new books, are you?" Husband says, "Absolutely not. These books were published years ago."
I feel seen and attacked at the same time. Vintage acquisitions is a legitimate line item in my budget.
I'm going to use that. It's not spending, it's archiving.
All right, that is the deep dive for this week. Stay curious, stay warm, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.